have a quorum. So with that, I will call this October 6th meeting of the City of Elkhart Plan Commission to order. Before we begin very briefly, I do want to acknowledge most of the city staff and many of the members up here are already aware that we lost a commission member who passed away a few weeks ago, Ronnie Davis. And Ronnie served on this plan commission for many years. And so we do want to acknowledge his time and wish his family the best. So I'd like to start with a roll call.
Lawson,
Here.
Beecher,
Here.
Newbill, Jones,
Present.
Osborne,
Here.
Murray, Mishler,
Present.
Schaefer.
Here. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I do have the proofs of publication here, the originals. They were also in your packet. Do I have a motion to approve the proofs of publication?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First item on the agenda, new business 25X07. Petitioner is Alyssa Garcia.
The site location is 721 Maple Row. The request is per section 5.3 special exception uses for 3G daycare centers to allow for the establishment of a new daycare center at 721 Maple Row. The petitioner is submitting an application for a daycare at 721 Maple Row. The home is located in a neighborhood with ample sidewalks with the ability for some of the children to be walked to the location. According to Elkhart County Assessor records, the house is 904 square feet and built in 1960. The lot is 0.15 acres. At the writing of this report, staff had not yet visited the site, and I would say that we have visited the site subsequent to the writing of the staff report. And it is anticipated the petitioner will apply for a Class 1 license with the state's Family Social Services Administration, which allows for up to 12 children. Pickup and drop off for facility will be handled from in front of the house along Maple Row on the north side of the building. In terms of space, the house is adequate. The state requires a Class 1 license, a minimum of 35 square feet per child for indoor space, for a total of 420 square feet if the maximum number is reached. Staff recommends approval of the request based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the special exception is so defined, located, and proposed to be operated that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. Number two, the special exception will not reduce the values of other properties in the immediate vicinity because there will be no exterior changes to the existing building. Number three, the special exception shall conform to the regulations of the zoning district in which it is to be located because it will not generate adverse effects on adjacent properties in the form of noise, smoke, or odor. Conditions. If the board chooses to approve the requested special exception, staff recommends that the following conditions be placed on the approval. Number one, the petitioner shall submit plans for the building renovations. If there are any within 14 days of the approval, we do not anticipate that there will be. Number two, all children shall be restricted to the building and the fenced play area except when arriving or leaving or on supervised walks or outings. Number three, the facility and grounds shall be kept clean at all times. Number four, the facility shall be subject to inspection upon reasonable notice by the zoning administrator during hours of operation. Number five, there shall be no exterior display, signs, or other forms of advertising. Number six, the copy of the child care home license shall be submitted to the Department of Planning and Zoning upon receipt from the Indiana Facility of Social Services Administration. Number seven, if the daycare ceases to operate for more than 1 year or the license is revoked, the special exception becomes null and void. Any violation of the terms of the special exception as determined by the city zoning administrator shall render the special exception invalid. There shall be a maximum of 12 children. And number 10, pickup and drop off shall be, that says alley, that should be the front of the property. And number 11, the special exception is valid for 2 years and shall be reviewed as a staff item by the Board of Zoning Appeals on October 7th, 2027.
Any questions Mike, any questions for Mr. Trotter? Mr. Osborne?
Eric, in the analysis, it says that pickup and drop off is going to be in front of the house, and then in the conditions, it says pickup and drop off are at the rear of the property.
I know, I apologize. I corrected that. It'll be from the front.
It will be so the number 10 condition is not valid.
Yes.
Okay, we need to strike that then from the conditions. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Mishler?
Thank you. In the past, when we've had these daycares come in front of us, a lot of the pickup drop-off have been done in an alley. Is there any concern about traffic disruption in the neighborhood because of this?
No, it's a relatively low volume street. And with the size of her house, she's going to be limited to the number. Once the state comes in, it gives her her final number. So she's going to have a pretty low volume home daycare.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is the petitioner here to address the Plan Commission? If you can come forward. We'll be very gentle, I promise. Please, before you start, just state your name and address for the record.
Elisa Garcia, 721 Maple Row.
Thank you. I will not make you make a long presentation. Do the members have any questions for the petitioner?
I do, just one.
Mr. Jones?
Have you seen the conditions and are you in agreement with, you can meet all those conditions?
Yes.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I will open this up for public comment. As you know, this is a recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That'll be the formal public hearing. But is there any public comment on this matter? If you are online and you want to address this matter publicly, you will need to have your video operating. So is there anyone here in the room who would like to address this matter? Anyone online? Seeing none, we will close the public comment and bring it back to the Plan Commission. Looking for a motion. Again, this is a recommendation to the BZA, and I believe your motion should mention condition number 10.
I'll make a motion to the BZA that we approve this application and that we change number 10, a condition that pickup and drop off will be in the front of the property as opposed to the rear.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a
Second.
second? Motion by Mr. Osborne, seconded by Mr. Jones. Can I have a roll call, please?
Osborne,
Yes.
Beecher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Aye.
Schaefer.
Yes. Next item on our agenda is 25 PUDA-02, petitioners Emerson North Creek Development and Northern Investments LLC.
The site location is vacant land, Emerson Drive and Karen Drive. Request is per section 24B and 2010B1, a major amendment to the Planned Unit Development Ordinance 4143 and 4360 as a conceptual planned unit development to add land not previously included in the Northfield Market Planned Unit Development, approximately 16.62 acres to the PUD to allow for the use and construction of a 336 apartment complex, R4 multifamily dwelling district, and a climate-controlled self-storage facility to the B3 Service Business District standards, to also permit a minimum dwelling size of 550 square feet for studios and 720 square feet for one bedrooms, where 750 square feet is the minimum dwelling unit size. Per section 24B and 2010B1, a major amendment to the Planned Unit Development Ordinance 4130 and 4360 as a conceptual planned unit development, again to add land not previously included in the Northfield Market Planned Unit Development, approximately 16.62 acres to the PUD to allow for the uses and construction of a 336 apartment unit complex and a climate-controlled self-storage facility, to also permit a minimum dwelling unit size of 550 square feet for the studio and 720 square feet for the one bedroom, or 750 square feet is the minimum dwelling unit size. The petitioner is seeking to add land to the Northfield Market Planned Unit Development in order to construct a 336-unit apartment complex on the south side of Emerson Drive, west of Cassopolis. There is proposed to be 7 buildings, each with 48 units comprising studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom apartments. The complex will have a clubhouse with a pool and pickleball courts. Other amenities within the complex are a dog run area, grilling area, gathering pavilions, and a 1-mile walking trail that will ring the perimeter. It is also proposed to have approximately 10 acres of existing wooded area be maintained along with the self-storage facility for the use of residents. The phasing for the development has not yet been established. When the project is submitted for tech review and for final site plan to the Plan Commission, the developer will have had time to better refine the phasing for the project. Currently, the zoning ordinance permits the smallest dwelling unit size of 750 square feet. This project is requesting, as part of the approval, to have the smallest studio unit be 550 square feet, the smallest 1-bedroom unit be 720 square feet. The request is in keeping with other new apartment complex developments that have been approved within the last 2 years. Primary access will be from Emerson Drive. That entrance provides connections to signalized intersections both at Cassopolis Street and County Road 6. The secondary exit will be by way of Karen Drive. In 2022, the city, along with the 2 commercial auto dealers, negotiated the dedication of the first 525 feet of Karen Drive from Cassopolis between these 2 property owners. The plan is to connect the proposed development to the dedicated right-of-way portion of Karen Drive. The city has engaged a consultant to negotiate with the remaining 3 property owners. This project will add an additional 336 housing units to the community. These units will fill a need that are targeted for workers between 80 and 120% area median income. The Zimmerman-Volk housing study, updated in 2022, highlighted the need for housing at every income level and type for the city. Staff recommends approval of the major amendment to the planned unit development per section 24 and 2010B1 ordinance 4143 and 4360 as a conceptual planned unit development to add land not previously included in the Northfield Market planned unit development. Approximately 16.62 acres to the PUD will allow for these uses in the construction of a 336-unit apartment complex and a climate-controlled self-storage facility, to also permit the minimum dwelling unit size of 550 square feet, 720 for a studio, 720 square feet for 1-bedrooms, where 750 square feet is the minimum dwelling unit size based on the following findings of fact. The comprehensive plan calls for this area to be developed with mixed uses. The proposed apartment complex is compatible with the current commercial uses that surround the majority of the site. Number 2, the proposed apartment complex storage facility and amended unit size should not impact the other permitted uses approved for this PUD or have a substantial negative effect to the surrounding uses. And number 3, the proposed apartment complex storage facility and amended unit size will not adversely impact the land in the area of the planned unit development, as the proposed uses are already permitted within the Northfield Market planned unit development. There were 19 letters mailed, 2 responses returned, both not in favor, with comments. We've ordered the property that you're planning the PUD for, and we wish to voice our objectives. We are not in favor. We will be attending the meeting in person. We are concerned about retention ponds near Christiana Creek, which this is a source of Elkhart City water. We would require a real privacy fence, not a chain link fence bordering our property. This would help deflect noise. We have had many trespassers from the apartments now in place. There have been many police chases through our woods right to our home on North Drive. Excuse me. Some of these were very serious matters. This is not an escape route for criminals, and we do not need the privacy fence. We need the privacy fence to protect us. This is not a joke, but real. We are extremely concerned about light pollution. It is now an horrendous situation from the car lots to the homes, on Karen Drive and the homes on North Drive. They should not have been allowed to install such bright lights. When Walter Compton owned this land, he planned to always keep it as a wildlife refuge. There's a lot of wildlife that will be disrupted. And then we have experienced from Highlands Apartments vandalism and increases in the neighborhood.
Any questions for Mr. Trotter from the Plan Commission? Mr. Mishler?
Thank you, Eric. So today, are we making a final decision, or is this a recommendation to the BZA or the council?
This would be a recommendation to the Common Council.
To the Common Council? Okay. And the infrastructure down on Perrin Drive as an alternative route, is that capable of supporting emergency vehicles or other volume of traffic for this? Has there been any consideration of that?
This would be a secondary route for the complex. The primary would be from Emerson. The plan is to negotiate with the last several property owners to provide adequate access from the part that is now dedicated on Karen to the back end of this development.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is the petitioner here today? If you could come forward and please state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Crone, 1189 Wilmette Avenue, Suite 295 in Wilmette, Illinois.
Go ahead.
Yes, first of all, my sincere condolences on your loss of Plan Commissioner member Ron Davis. And thank you for your time in reviewing these matters. Appreciate that. As I said, I'm Sharon Crone, chairman of Crib Holding. And we're excited to be working with the City of Elkhart on our patent pending methodology to provide housing for critical and vital workers here in Elkhart. As you know, we're seeking to amend the PUD, and thank you, Eric, for summarizing that so succinctly. So right now, we'd like to just acknowledge one particular facet, which I'm particularly proud of, and that is that it's the quality of life environment that this program provides. Specifically, two nationally acclaimed organizations have partnered in our program's holistic approach. So that would include Premier Life Skills University, High Point University will be offering our residents an executive education program, which would include health, leadership, data and analytics, logistics, and Better Health, which is an online health initiative adopted by Blue Cross Blue Shield of California and by the Department of Labor in North Carolina. So those will be incorporated in some of the services provided. I've invited our Chief Operating Officer, Scott Crone, here to offer any additional clarification points that you may have.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Scott Crone, 1189 Wilmette Avenue, number 295, Wilmette, Illinois, 60091. We are very proud of what we've been able to put together and work in conjunction with the City of Elkhart on this. This program would not exist without Elkhart's participation, and we customized it specifically for the Elkhart community. But what we see as the greatest benefit is the holistic approach that we're doing this to benefit the community by providing high-end quality homes for the employers. They get a more consistent workforce. For their vital and critical workers, the employees get better quality housing closer to their workers. And we have a system that will help and encourage their growth and development within their home and then professionally as well. To it specifically, we feel that we've addressed this 6 major points, I believe it is. The community, how it integrates into the community, the aesthetics, the transportation, the mobility. We've really focused on our background in planning to make best use of the property, and by preserving almost 11 acres of this site as wooded. Certainly, I think addresses the neighbor to the south, who I believe wrote the petition concerned. We share their same concerns, and that's why we've directed the entire development to the far north as possible, which is away from their property, and preserving the the woods along that end, which is where most of the nature trail will be, and also the retention, so not to impact it. We have the support of the city engineer on that. You know, we're working diligently to make sure that we're not impacting any water streams. We don't want to do that. The whole focus of this development is green, which is why we're close to bike trails, why we're close to workers and they're in place of employment. That is one of the first and major components of green design, is to minimize traffic and congestion. So that also goes to preserving open spaces. That was the heart of what we're doing and why we've clustered the apartments together, and to minimize the parking in clusters as well as far north as possible. With light pollution, we don't like seeing light pollution either. We enjoy nature, and so we're not going to have the high, tall lights that would be seen like in a commercial parking lot. The lighting will be lower. We want to have safety, but certainly the trees and the buffering of almost 10 acres will mitigate the light to the neighbors to the south. And that's one of the reasons why the property owners agreed to sell it to us, is because of how much of the wildlife we are preserving. That was important to both of the property owners as well as to us. So I think we share those same concerns with the petitioners. With that, if there's any additional questions.
Questions from Mr. Mishler?
Thank you, and thank you for taking the time and investing in our community. Has there been any direct outreach with those neighbors, going to their homes, calling them, sending letters, anything like that?
Yes, we did reach out, and then I understood their concerns, and we explained how we were designing the development as far north as possible. So we did reach out to them, yes.
Okay. Couple other quick questions. Will there be, first of all, when you say market rate, what kind of rents are you expecting for the studio and and it's only one bedroom? You're not going above that, correct?
We will have, there will be one type of studio. There'll be two types of one bedroom. I'm sorry, three types of one bedrooms, and then one with a den. And then there'll be two types of two bedrooms.
Okay. And what kind of price range were you looking for around there?
That is what's unique about our program, is that the whole concept of this is to design a situation in which people who work in Elkhart will qualify for the program, where a nonprofit will contribute $700 of rent per month, per unit, per year for 15 years. So if we're just going to take a market rate, let's just say $1,500, the nonprofit would contribute $700 a unit, and the tenant would only pay $800. So the payment amount falls below the 80% AMI federal requirement.
Okay, thank you. Because of that, will you be asking for any financial assistance from the municipal government, TIF funds, matching gap coverage, anything like that?
The development agreement that we're working in conjunction with the city right now does involve TIF.
Thank you.
Mr. Beecher?
So they're affordable to 80 to 120 AMI. Are they income qualified to be able to qualify to live there? Is there an income restriction that you cannot make above X to be able to live in this development?
So I thought the first part, I'm just clarifying, I thought the first part of your question was there a minimum, but I heard, is there a maximum?
Yeah, I understand that it's affordable to people at 80 to 121% of the AMI. If you make 150% of the AMI, are you not eligible to live there?
No, there's, first and foremost, it's a market rate apartment complex. So if someone does not work in Elkhart, they pay market rent and they can live there. There is no restrictions to that. If someone does work in Elkhart, they automatically qualify. If they financially qualify to meet the balance, then they can qualify to live there. So for instance, if you're a teacher, or if you're a doctor, if you're a first responder, if you work for any of the major corporations, or if you work for a local company like a bank or a beauty salon or whoever, you would then qualify.
So but they're not federally subsidized.
There's no federal subsidy.
Okay. I've just never heard of a project like this, so it sounds unique.
That's why it's We are applying for a patent for it.
Okay.
Because we created it.
All right, thanks.
I do have one question. So what I'm hearing is you are proposing a market rate apartment complex. And then to the side over here, you have a unique financing and rent approach to it. Let's say for some reason that unique approach fails, we will still have a market rate apartment complex. That is the land use in the PUD. Is that a fair statement?
Those are all correct statements, yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the Planning Commission for the petitioner? Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. We may have questions for you later.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will now open up the public hearing on this matter. Again, please state your name and address for the record. If there's anyone here in this room, you're welcome to come forward.
Hello, I'm Chad Rapp. I'm the owner of 218 Karen Drive. And I definitely don't approve. I don't care what size the apartments and that they want to make, that's fine. But the use of Karen Drive, I do have a few problems. One, the easement does not give Gates and Gurley Leap the ability to dedicate that road. It's a whole thing that has to be done with every residence of Karen Drive. And I don't understand how in 2022 they could do that with Elkhart. I don't understand. We never received anything. I've got history all the way back to 1951. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't believe that's going on is correct. As far as them using Karen Drive for the use of even a secondary is wrong. There are provisions about it only for a residential, a single residential. And I've got paperwork. Like I said, my grandma owned my property before me and she kept everything. I have every scrap of paper. I got files at home. I got pictures. And this is just not right. I mean, you know, I know that they want to do a redevelopment of Cassopolis, and they eventually want to take over the last 3 residents. And that's fine, but I'd like that done before they build the apartments. You know, my concern is, like it's been the last few years, is how much crime has happened within our little neighborhood. Mary Jo Rice just passed away this last year, and so I'm not concerned about her any longer. But as residents of Karen Drive, you know, we really need to be taken care of. Gates has actually been quite a good business. If I've had a problem with them, I can go down and talk to them and they take care of it. Gurley Leap, I've had problems with them. I've had their salesman drive into my yard to take pictures because I had a really nice lilac bushes and eaves and everything. And they were taking pictures of their cars so they could post it and sell right in my yard.
Sir, we're not dealing with Gurley Leap today.
I understand, okay, but I'm just saying, this stuff didn't happen before, you know? So you're looking at a family that's been in this location since 1951, okay? I understand things got to change. I understand apartments are needed or housing is needed in Elkhart, okay? But you can't overlook the little guy and what is right.
Very good.
Thank you,
sir. Anyone else in person who would like to speak on this matter?
Hi, my name is Joe Geyer. I'm at 200 Karen Drive. I'm also not in favor of it either. It's not only is of course, but the wildlife is a big concern. but it's that road, it's only so wide. And if they say it's just going to be a secondary road, the human thing to do is not to go out the main entrances. The human thing to do is to try to find another alternate route. So I feel like the back is going to be used just as much as the front. And if I agree with what Chad was saying too, I think we need to be taken care of first. Bought out or take care of the three remaining people first and then build. Because I think it's really going to be almost like a main road. I mean, they say it's a secondary road, but I feel it's going to be more of a main road. That's my concern.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else here in the room?
How you doing? We'll just go right down the line. I'm at the end of Karen Drive.
Just please give us your
Mike
name.
English, 100 Karen Drive. I own the very last house on Karen Drive and all of the surrounding property there that I assume is going to have to be purchased, renovated. Something's going to have to happen because the Karen Drive ends before you get into my driveway. And all of that, I bought the property because of what it is, because I have, several deer that I have cameras up and we just, it's like a wildlife preserve. No matter what they say, that it's not just in the back part of it. The entire woods is covered with wildlife. I walk it, a few times a week. I'm constantly back in there, several acres. I've had an agreement with the landowner for a long time to kind of we have a lot of homeless that set up camp back there and a lot of stuff that goes on that, just publicly, I don't really like the idea. And as far as them saying that we've been contacted, we have not. I have not gotten a single letter, phone call, zero communication. I don't believe anybody else has either. So I don't know where that's coming from until I got this letter to be here today is the first I've seen JPR in the back, doing surveys and doing all the thing. I talked to them, but as far as any communication with anyone else, we have not received a single thing about what is going on. So I was kind of coming today just to see what is happening, what the plan is, because as of right now, I own everything that is going to need to be used to get to it. So that's it. I object to it, but that's all.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else here in the room?
Hi, my name is Perry Gurman. I live at 150 North Drive. We are the end of North Drive. We own 10 acres there. Senator Bontrager built this house and the property around it to be kept as a nature. I understand they're going to allow so much nature into there. Well, my luck has been I have had to be the policeman to stop very, very bad people. One in particular, gentleman decided to slash a person in the back of the head at Walmart. Where did he end up? On my property. The police were everywhere, anywhere, but they wouldn't listen. I had to call them and let them know, hey, he's on my backyard. I had stolen cars, people, I had to harass them back to my building for the police could arrest them. This is just a 2 out of maybe 10 people. I've had thievery coming from Walmart through the woods, through into my property with TVs under arm that they walked out the back door of Walmart. Same thing, have to call the police and everything. Point being there, that's one of the items. Number 2, we haven't seen a drawing of any type of anything to know what they're actually doing. Number 2 of that, where is the watershed going to be located? We've already had a problem and made sure it was done right when they put the other apartments behind on Karen, back in that area. Well, now they have their watershed. Well, they didn't want to line it. They didn't want to spend the money. Well, if Elkhart City Water doesn't care if that gets polluted into the creek, Christiana Creek has been a necessity for Elkhart. If it wasn't for us and other people on the creek keeping it clean of debris and other people that enjoy now the creek, that's a thing. But we're asking also to put a fence to stop their people from entering my property, because when they find out there's a beautiful creek back there, I own 1,000 running feet of the creek. That's mine. I didn't intend to share it with those people coming in. They don't pay property taxes. I pay very, very high property taxes to live there and enjoy my property. The children on my street are safe to come in my property. They enjoy with their parents. I can't have more people coming on my property. I had a telephone call from these people asking me if I wanted to have a bike route. And then they said they wanted to put it across the creek. Well, where were you going once you get across the creek? Well, number one, there's Emerson Road is the only one that's there. Edwards Road. There's no place to go with a bike route. You can go round and round your own property all you want, but I need a fence to keep their people out, because we've already dealt with the other apartments. They never put a fence. Those people trickle in. They don't care what a sign shows. I have game cameras everywhere. I feed 22 deer in the wintertime, making sure that they're healthy. I have fox. Those woods that they're talking about keeping, part of it, was actually a fox and mink farm 50 years ago. Mr. Compton had a gentleman that did all that. So these are the things I'm concerned with, is the watershed. Lights, sounds like they're going to keep the lights low. Okay, that'll be fine. But if they don't, it's going to be a terrible thing. They're as the same as all of the automotive places that are going and selling cars, Gurley Leap and Gates. The next thing they need to do is they got to put a fence up. They've got to put a fence up. We've got to stop that. The animals will find a way around.
Sir,
Animals
sir,
are quite done.
you've mentioned the fence numerous times. Thank you.
Well, I thank you very much for your time. I hope that it actually works and not falls within the lines.
Thank you, sir. Anyone's here in the room? Is there anyone online for this petition? Again, I'll remind you, you will need to turn your camera on if you would like to speak on this matter. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the petition and bring it back to the Plan Commission. Do the members have any questions for the petitioner?
Just real quick. So to be clear, today, what we're voting on is not the final recommendation or what will happen. If it will go to the Common Council of the whole, which will have a final vote on it. We are just voting on a recommendation for the council today, just to let the folks who are here today know what the next steps are.
I do have two questions for the petitioner. Mr. Osborne, do you have a question for the petitioner or a comment?
Eric, for Eric.
Okay, let's start with the petitioner first. My first question for the petitioner, and I think this is something we just need to explore as we make a recommendation and the Common Council makes a final decision. The connection on Karen Drive, how critical is that to your plan?
There's two components to that. One is the utility service, and then two, fire and safety requirement.
Okay.
So in order, I don't want to get too technical. My expertise is not civil engineering, but in order to have a looped water service, the city wants to have it come in through Cassopolis and then exit through Karen to make sure there's no stagnant water in terms of making sure there's a good water supply. And then two, in terms of life safety for the fire department and the ambulances, they wanted to have multiple access points. But again, we feel in all of the parking, all of the apartments, there's only one apartment south of Karen. The rest of them are north of Karen. And so the closer access is actually off of Emerson.
And then also very briefly, the gentleman on North Drive and his question regarding fences and such, what is your approach to security, both for your residents and but mostly for your residents? Have you put any plans together for that?
Yeah, we did speak to him about a bike trail. It was suggested to me by people in the community that would make for a nice continuous bike path. I believe that's part of the larger comprehensive plan to have a citywide bike trail. And so I said I would explore it, which is one of the reasons why we reached out to them. And so we did make efforts to reach out to the other ones. We tried calling and we left messages, but we never heard back. So if we called the wrong places, I was using information I could Google off of the internet in order to reach them. So I apologize if we left messages at the wrong locations. We are implementing, from a security point of view, the highest technology possible. Obviously, we'll have cameras on site, but also there will be fobs that everyone will be able to use controlled access. So we can control the access into the buildings as well as into the apartments using fobs. And so between the cameras and the fobs, we'll have very good security measures in place. I'm sorry,
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for the petitioner?
Would you, any objection to erecting the fences as the gentleman has proposed?
We're happy to explore it. You know, to be completely fair and honest, I don't know the full topography on the far end of the south because all of our efforts have been to the north. So if we do put something in there, we'd want to make sure that it's not impacting something negatively. And so we're open to putting a fence, but it would, again, what are the details?
Sure.
These are all things that can be worked out, I believe, during tech review. But, you know, I don't know where the creek is exactly because the survey that we have doesn't outline where the creek is in that part.
One thought would be, since you weren't successful at contacting those folks, you know, they're here now, maybe you could get their information, have a conversation or meeting, see if you can quell some of those objections that they have.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when we did speak about it, you know, when he objected to having the bike path in a bridge there, we said, fine, not a problem. We just wanted to explore it. And if you're against it, then we understand that. And that's one of the reasons, again, with the light pollution, you know, our residents don't want lights. It keeps them up at night, right? So we don't want tall lights blinding our own residents. We want, you know, public safety appropriate lighting, but, you know, at a minimum.
Thank you, sir. I believe Mr. Osborne had a question for Mr. Trotter.
Yeah, Eric. Eric, I may have missed it in your analysis, but it says here in your analysis, the city has engaged a consultant to negotiate with the 3 remaining property owners. Did you address that, or did you guys get a consultant to negotiate with the 3 property owners?
The City Redevelopment Commission is engaged in a consultant to do that.
Excuse me?
Redevelopment Commission has engaged a consultant to begin working with the neighbors.
Okay.
I don't believe any of that outreach has happened yet.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment session and bring it back to the Planning Commission for any final discussion.
Quick, when's the timetable? When will this be for first reading for the Common Council?
I think that's a question for Mr. Trotter, when this would go to Common Council. I assume it would be the November meetings. And that would be if it doesn't go to a committee.
Rob, potentially the first reading would be the 20th, and then the second reading would be the November. And I don't know what the first meeting in November, if that's the 3rd. I think it was the 3rd.
Will you do a budget? Okay. Okay, so potentially the first reading would be October 20th, and the second reading, and that's if it is not referred to committee. Oh, 16th of October. Okay.
If I
Ms.
may,
Marnoka, do you have
I do have a comment or a concern.
just state that, if you don't mind stating your name and your role, please, for the record.
Will do. Maggie Marnoka. I am the Plan Commission's attorney. As far as making a recommendation to the council, I just want to point out again, I mean, we've talked about it here, that we don't actually have the right-of-way necessary to extend Karen Drive. So I would advise you to include that as a condition. Because otherwise you could send it on to the council, they could approve it. 3-4 years from now, we still don't have an agreement. If we have to take it by condemnation, that can take forever. So just kind of a thought that we need to get that tidied up.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
The public hearing is closed, sir. The public hearing is closed. You can request that from the staff. Yes, sir. With that, any other discussion, or are we ready for a motion? Mr. Mishler, and you can say that. Mr. Mishler did ask how we would include the recommendation that Ms. Marnoga suggested in the motion. I think it would be a recommendation to the Common Council that should they choose to rezone this and make the PUD amendment, that they also require, and their city's legal would probably have to work on that with them as to how that condition will move along, but they require that prior to, say, tech review being approved, that the connection to Karen Drive be complete, or something along those lines.
It's a long motion.
Correct. But I think our motion, should you want to make a motion in the affirmative, would be to recommend approval of the PUD amendment as presented by the staff, and with a condition that the Common Council consider connection to Karen Drive prior to any development, or something along those lines. And I think the Common Council and legal could then work with that.
Does that sound good?
So with that, I will ask for a motion.
All right, I'll try it out. I will make a motion, do pass recommendation to the Common Council with the addition that the right-of-way be affirmed for the project prior to passage.
I have a motion by Mr. Mishler.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Mishler, seconded by Mr. Osborne. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Osborne,
Yes.
Beecher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Aye.
Schaefer.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. So this will be moving on to the Common Council. Next item on our agenda is 25-Z-01. Petitioner is Stephen Merrill Anderson and Linda Anderson.
The site location is the 700 vacant land in the 700 block of Mishawaka Street. The request is per section 2911B map amendments to request to rezone vacant land on Mishawaka Street from M1 Limited Manufacturing District to R3 to Family Dwelling District. Per section 2911 map amendments, a request to rezone vacant land on Mishawaka Street from M1 Limited Manufacturing District to R3 two-family dwelling district. The petitioner is requesting to rezone 0.45 acre parcel from M1 Limited Manufacturing District to R3 two-family dwelling district for the purpose of redeveloping long vacant land for 2 duplexes. The petitioner is looking to align the zoning request to match the land east and north of the property in question to R3 two-family dwelling district. The proposed duplexes will face Mishawaka Street with alley access to the north for parking. The platted alley runs east and west from Michigan to Edwardsburg Avenue. Staff supports the request. The manufacturing zoning is no longer appropriate for the north side of Mishawaka Street. The rezoning will make the redevelopment of the site easier. Approving the rezoning would allow for the reuse of the property to a much needed and desired use. The development will provide for new investment along this critical corridor. Redevelopment of the site will improve the sense of welcome and Elkhart community image as discussed in the comprehensive plan. City staff welcomes this new development. This request will allow the property to be redeveloped to continue to chip away at the shortage of housing in our community as outlined by the Zimmerman Bulk Housing Study. The city needs housing at every level, and this request helps the city in supporting redevelopment on infill lots throughout the city. The staff recommends approval of the rezoning request based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the proposed rezoning is compatible with the future land use, which calls for this area to be developed with mixed land uses. Number two, the current conditions and character of the current structures and uses in each district will not be impacted because the proposed use will blend well with the surrounding commercial and existing residential uses. Number three, the R3 two-family dwelling district does allow for the most desirable use for which the land can be adapted. Number four, the proposed rezoning will preserve the conservation of property values throughout the city because it is adjacent to other residential uses. And number five, the rezoning of the property to R3 two-family dwelling district is compatible with surrounding properties and does reflect responsible growth and development because the redevelopment as two duplexes is permitted within the R3 district. There were 26 letters mailed, 2 returned in favor with no comment, 1 returned not in favor with the following comments. We oppose due to the fact we have lived here for over 35 years. It went from a nice, quiet, decent neighborhood to not quiet, not kept up, and rude neighbors. We don't need to make these just built 3 duplexes across the street from us, so no more, we oppose.
Any questions for Mr. Trotter? Mr. Mishler?
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. What was the previous use of the property? What was done there?
I believe this was vacant and overflow parking.
Okay.
We'd had some development proposed on the property to the west, but that did not come to pass. And then the restaurant to the far east of the corner, and then the remaining property on the north and the west or the east are all R3 zoned residential.
Okay, the only reason I ask is going from manufacturing to residential, what comes to mind is any potential risks of environmental contamination, things like that. Were those considered by the staff at all just because of the zoning and history?
I didn't know. I believed it to be always vacant as far as I knew.
Okay.
Sir, we'll wait till the public hearing, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question, or I'm sorry, anyone else? Sorry, I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes. I do have a question. There is a little hand-drawn sketch included in the staff report showing kind of the proposed layout. And obviously, this is just one proposal. A rezoning could lead to a lot of different things, but I assume this little hand-drawn sketch would comply with, would generally comply with the zoning ordinance, correct?
Yes, it did. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Trotter? Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Is the petitioner here? Now you can come forward, sir. I apologize if I was mean.
Very mean.
And please state your name and address for the record.
Stephen Anderson, I go by Merle.
Okay, just sir, if you don't mind, make sure you're in the microphone so the recording here.
Stephen Anderson, I go by Merle. I was the owner of Cappy's on that property. As far as the environmental, my address is 21520 Channel Parkway, Edwardsburg, Michigan, 49112. I was the owner of Cappy's North Side and I own that lot currently. And as far as the environmental, before I sold Cappy's in that lot, I had a complete environmental study done and I passed it on to the owner that bought the lot next to that and that lot. And I had an extensive environmental study done. So I know there's no contamination on that lot. I had tanks dug out and spent a lot of money to do it. So I know that the lots are clean. So I'm pretty sure that they'll have no issues. So, and prior to that being manufactured, the study back in the early 1900s, that was all housing all the way along that street. So that was all residential at one time.
Very good.
So
Any questions for the petitioner? So it sounds like you're selling the property, and are you the buyer, ma'am? Do you want to just state your name and address for the record very briefly?
My name is Ashley Pilot.
You'll have to bring the, sorry, there
My
you go.
name is Ashley Pilot. My address is 465 Simpson Avenue, apartment 3-3, Elkhart, Indiana.
And it's your intention to build the duplexes that are proposed?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do we have any questions for either of the petitioners? Mr. Mishler?
Will these be rental units, or do you plan to sell it as soon as it's built?
They'll be rental units.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing on this matter. Again, this will be a recommendation to the council. Anyone here in this room, who would like to speak on the matter? Seeing none. Anyone online who would like to speak on the matter? Again, I'd remind you to turn your camera on before you do. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the Plan Commission for discussion or a motion. Again, this is a recommendation to the council.
I will make a motion, do pass recommendation to the Common Council of the Whole.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Jones,
Yes.
Beecher,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Mishler,
Aye.
Schaefer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, 25Z-02. I have spoken to our attorney and Mr. Trotter on this matter. I had a previous financial interest here that I no longer have. After discussing with them, we determined the best course of action is I'm going to go ahead and continue to be the presiding officer, but I will abstain from voting on this, even though I don't have a financial interest any longer. So the only thing that we'll do is, obviously there's only 5 remaining members, so you guys all have to agree or we stay here till midnight. So, Mr. Trotter, if you can proceed.
The petitioner is Genway Majestic LLC and Wrangler Real Estate Incorporated. The site location is vacant land at Vernon Avenue and Greenleaf Boulevard. The request is per section 2911B map amendments to a request to rezone vacant land, Vernon Avenue parcels 200235351017, part of 200235352035, and part of 200235352003 from R1 one family dwelling district to R2 one family dwelling district. The petitioner is requesting per section 2911B map amendments, a request to rezone vacant land, Vernon Avenue, parcels 0235351017, part of 0235352035, and part of 0235352003 from R1 one family dwelling district to R2 one family dwelling district. The land that is part of the rezoning request is the land that in the extended Vernon Avenue preliminary subdivision that will be known as Vernon's Reserve, that will have 21 lots for one family residential development. The request is based on a number of factors. The cost of residential development is considerable. Infrastructure costs, which include design and materials for water and sanitary sewer, have made the ability to develop land for residential uses far more challenging than in past years. By allowing the developer to meet the R2 standards, 4 more lots can be accommodated within the proposed subdivision, thus lowering the per lot cost. The proposed 21 lots in the R2 density allow the city to continue to address the housing shortage in our community. Elkhart needs new housing at every income level as outlined by the Zimmerman Bulk Housing Study updated in 2022. Last, due to the right-of-way for the extended Vernon Avenue places limitations on the depth of the lots as only one side of the road could meet the R1 development standard. The pending Unified Development Ordinance depicts the updated lot width as 60 feet, which is the current R2 development standard. The standard was lowered in part to meet the need for more developable lots for new housing and to also acknowledge the increasing cost of infrastructure by allowing a slight increase of density for the developer. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning request based on the following findings of fact. The future land use for this area has not yet been, it is envisioned. The map, when adopted, will call for low-density residential uses. Number two, the current conditions and character of the current structures and uses in each district will not be impacted because the proposed single-family development will blend well with the surrounding residential uses. The R2 one-family dwelling district does allow for the most desirable uses for which the land can be adapted. Number four, the proposed rezoning will preserve the conservation of property values throughout the city because it is adjacent to other residential uses. And number five, the rezoning of the property to R2 one-family dwelling district is compatible with surrounding properties and does reflect responsible growth and development because the redevelopment as single-family housing is permitted within the R2 district. There were 26 letters mailed. And one returned not in favor. Sorry, yes, two returned not in favor.
Any questions for Mr. Trotter? Mr. Mishler?
With the change in lot size, was there any determined change in square feet per house that we heard previously? I imagine.
No, it really is it probably won't affect or impact the size of the houses that will go on these lots.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Is the petitioner here? If you can state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Crystal Welsh, Abbott Marsh, 303 River Race Drive in Goshen, and representatives from the petitioner are here as well if you have any particular questions. As staff mentioned, the request is to rezone the northern portion of the Greenleaf Vernon's Reserve subdivision that's also going to be coming for you. The north end, that's the Vernon Street extension to R2. And that has to do with a lot of things. One is honestly, we think a 60-foot frontage and lot size is reasonable and is consistent with urban developments. Many of the homes around this area may have been developed on county standards with well and septic. This area has the ability to connect to sewer and water, which allows them to have smaller lot sizes. The homes will still be between 1,300 and 1,600 square feet. So they are going to be regular single-family homes. I think they will be consistent with what's in the area. And as we've mentioned on a couple of projects at today's meeting, offering a variety of housing opportunities is very, very important for the city. So offering some homes on larger lots, offering some on medium-sized lots, and then offering multifamily is critical to the city's overall housing strategy. And we believe that this development fits very well into that strategy.
Any questions for the petitioner, Mr. Osborne?
Crystal, is there going to be on-street parking?
The streets will be dedicated as city streets, and so they will comply with all of the city requirements. Each unit, each home, each lot will accommodate two parking lots or spots on there, but parking is actually designated by the city. So whether they will allow on-street parking, I assume it's just like every other street in the city that allows on-street parking. They will be designed to city standards as they'll be dedicated during the platting process.
Yeah, the reason I was asking, it just seems like it's a dead end of that cul-de-sac there, and I'm just concerned about fire trucks and stuff being able to get down the street if there's a bunch of cars there, and as long as it's wide enough, I guess we're okay.
Yep, I think that will be ultimately decided by the engineering department once the street is dedicated.
Okay.
The cul-de-sac has been designed to accommodate life safety vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions of the petitioner? Seeing none, thank you, ma'am. I will open up to public, or we will open up the public hearing. Are there anyone who would like to speak on this matter in the room? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak on this matter? Again, a reminder that you will need to turn your video on. I do see one hand raised. There we go. Let's see, you're still muted, ma'am. Let's see, we need to unmute her and then we can get started. Just give us a moment. Does she need to unmute on her end? You will need to unmute on your end, Ms. Mitchell.
Yes,
There we
I
go.
just was able to since.
Please state your name and address for the record, and you might need to speak up. You're not very loud in the room.
It's Sarah
Go ahead.
Mitchell. Sarah Mitchell, 3325 Vernon Avenue, Elkhart.
We can hear you. There we
Okay,
go.
great. All right. So I have a question. This started as a 7-lot cul-de-sac and now is up to 25 lots. Can you explain that for me? You
We
were
can
calling it a
ask the-
cul-de-sac, but you're saying there's 25 lots.
We can't necessarily explain it, but we can ask the petitioner to
Okay.
answer that question for you. Do you have any other comments?
Myself or the petitioner?
I'm asking you.
Okay. And then will there be an entrance from Greenleaf to this 25 lot neighborhood?
Very good. Are those your two questions?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else online who would like to speak on this matter? We will go ahead and close the public hearing. Since Ms. Mitchell couldn't appear in person, but I would ask if you could address her two concerns.
I will, thank you. First of all, yes, she is correct. Last year, the developer came with an annexation and subdivision request for a portion of the property that we're looking at today. What's happened since that time is that the acreage adjacent just to the east of this property that was within the county limits was annexed earlier this year. So now we're bringing in a substantially larger piece of property. And what that does is you'll see it on your subdivision plat. It allows us to add the additional 14 lots off of Vernon Avenue and an additional 4 lots on Greenleaf. So if you drive on Greenleaf right now, you'll see there's like a rock fence and a partial foundation in the rear. That's the other part of this property that was annexed this year and is being incorporated into the larger subdivision. So that's where the extra lots come from. Secondly, her question was, is there any access to the rear property through Greenleaf? And the answer to that is no. There will be a total of 5 new lots. One's already been platted, 5 additional lots along Greenleaf for single-family home development as well. But the access to this subdivision is off of Vernon.
Thank you, ma'am. Bring it back to the Plan Commission. Any comments or discussion from the commission? Seeing none, again, this will be a motion for, or a recommendation to the Common Council on the rezoning.
This is for the common council.
Yes, this one's the Common Council. This is a rezoning from R1 to R2. The next one's the subdivision.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion, a do pass motion to the common council.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Mishler, second by Mr. Jones. I apologize, Claire. I haven't been saying that. Roll call vote, please.
Beecher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Mishler.
Aye.
And I'm abstaining. Thank you. Motion is approved, so that will go to the Common Council next month. Next item on our agenda, 25 SUB-01. And Mr. Trotter, you're welcome to truncate the staff report if it's repeat of what you just said.
The petitioner is Genway Majestic LLC and Wrangler Real Estate Incorporated. Again, the site location is vacant land on Vernon Avenue and Greenleaf Boulevard. And the request, as per Article 4 of the subdivision ordinance, approval of an amended preliminary plat for the subdivisions known as Greenleaf Subdivision and Vernon's Reserve Subdivision to add an additional 17 lots to the original 8-lot subdivision request, a part of the southwest quarter of Section 35, Township 38 North, Range 5 East, Oslo Township, Elkhart County, Indiana. Again, per Article 4, the subdivision ordinance approval of an amended preliminary plat for the subdivisions known as Greenleaf Place Subdivision and Vernon's Reserve Subdivision to add an additional 17 lots to the original 8-lot subdivision request, a part of the southwest quarter of Section 35, Township 38 North, Range 5 East, Oslo Township, Elkhart County, Indiana. A preliminary plat depicts Vernon Avenue continuing to a cul-de-sac that would terminate at the eastern end of the proposed subdivision. That part of the development would be known as Vernon's Reserve for a total of 21 lots for the extension of Vernon Avenue. The 4 lots to front on Greenleaf Boulevard would be known as Greenleaf Place for a total of 5 lots fronting on Greenleaf Boulevard. The retention proposed for the new street will be accommodated in roadside swales, one on each end of the extended Vernon Avenue. The layout design will include 5-foot sidewalks to facilitate pedestrian use. The plat includes required setbacks that demonstrate that each lot is buildable. There will be a sanitary sewer easement for the purpose of extending a sewer connection to Greenleaf Boulevard and the extended Vernon Avenue. The petitioner also has the rezoning request 25Z02 filed for the portion of the subdivision area known as Vernon's Reserved, the street extension of Vernon Avenue. The petitioner is seeking to rezone that part of land from R1 to R2 for the purpose of providing development parcels to meet the R2 standard. Again, the pending Unified Development Ordinance depicts the updated lot width as 60 feet, which is the current R2 development standard. The standard was lowered again in part to meet the need for more developable lots for new housing and to acknowledge the increased cost of infrastructure by allowing a slight increase of density for the developer. The rezoning request will be heard on a separate petition. The secondary plat will remain pending until the Common Council hearing. Should the request be granted, the petitioner may move forward with the final plat. Should the rezoning be denied, the petitioner will be required to refile the preliminary plat depicting larger lots. The Broadmoor subdivision to the west of this area that is part of the petition and incorporates much of the area for Neff, Calumet, and Vernon. The original platting for that area with a lot width at 50 by 125. The way the area developed had 2 or more platted lots assembled to develop suburban-style homes popular in the 1950s through the 1970s. It was safe to assume the original intent of the greater Broadmoor subdivision was to have a greater density than what was subsequently built and developed. The project meets the requirements of the zoning and subdivision ordinances, including lot size, layout, and street width. It has not yet been submitted to city's technical review process, but will be required to do so and pass prior to construction. Staff has had preliminary review around the technical aspects of the project and no issues are anticipated. Per Indiana Code 3674-702, a plan commission must consider when determining whether to grant primary or preliminary approval of a plat. The plan commission shall determine if the plat or subdivision qualifies for primary preliminary approval under the standards prescribed by subdivision control ordinance. Under the 700 series of the Indiana Code of Statutes, the review of primary preliminary plats are ministerial, and if proposed preliminary plat has adhered to all the requirements prescribed by the subdivision control ordinance, the plan commission must grant approval. Thereby, the City of Elkhart planning staff has reviewed the subject petition and recommends approval of the preliminary plat per Article 4 of the subdivision ordinance, which is approval of an amended preliminary plat for subdivisions known as Greenleaf Place Subdivision and Vernon's Reserve Subdivision to add an additional 17 lots to the original 8-lot subdivision request, a part of the southwest quarter of Section 23, Township 38 North, Range 5 East, Oslo Township, Elkhart County, Indiana. The lots meet the minimum lot requirements for the R1 and R2 one-family dwelling district. Lots 1 through 4 along the Green Boulevard proposed single-family lots meet all of the bulk standards of the R1 zoning district, one-family dwelling district, specifically minimum lot size, frontage, and property development setbacks. Lots 5 through 25, Vernon Avenue proposed single-family lots meet all of the bulk standards for R2 zoning district, one-family dwelling district, specifically minimum lot size, lot frontage, and property development setbacks. In review of the preliminary plat for the new major subdivision, staff finds the petitioner has demonstrated compliance with all enacted regulations of both the City of Elkhart zoning and subdivision control ordinance. The approval is conditions. Number 1, the approval is preliminary only. The applicant must submit the required application materials for final plat approval to the plat committee as per Article 5 of the subdivision ordinance prior to the issuance of any permits for construction or sale of property. Number 2, that subsequent approvals may be required from the appropriate city departments. Those approvals may include plans for water supply, stormwater retention, sewage disposal, grading, roadway construction, and other infrastructure prior to final plat approval. Number 3, approval is tentative and shall be valid for a maximum period of 12 months. The City Plan Commission may grant an extension upon written request. If the final plat has not been recorded within the time limit, the primary approval is null and void, and the preliminary subdivision plat must be resubmitted for approval. Number 4, the project must be reviewed and approved through the city's technical review process prior to the subdivision or submission of the final plat to the plat committee. There were 25 letters mailed, 1 returned not in favor.
Questions for Mr. Trotter? Nope. Thought I caught you. Thank you, sir. Just a reminder that this does not go to the Common Council, so this will be a final decision by the Plan Commission. Petitioner, if you can come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Crystal Welsh, Evan Marsh, 303 River Race Drive, Goshen. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions for the petitioner? Has everyone had a chance to see what the plat looks like in their packet? Thank you, ma'am. I will open up the public hearing on the matter. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the Plan Commission. This will be for preliminary approval of the subdivision plat. Can I have a motion?
So
Move that we move it forward with a due pass recommendation.
It'll be that your motion would be to grant preliminary approval for the subdivision plan.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Beecher, seconded by Mr. Jones. Roll call vote, please.
Lawson,
Yes.
Beecher,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Mishler,
Aye.
Schaefer.
Abstain. Thank you. Passes 5-0. Next item on agenda, staff items 25 SI01.
Planning and Zoning Department is requesting approval of the addresses that have been reserved for structures in the City of Elkhart. 1580 West Franklin, 2401 Waterbend Drive, 826 West Cleveland Avenue, 3900 Ben Oak Trail, for commercial 699 South 3rd, industrial 2943 Levanter Place.
Motion to approve the addresses as presented.
Motion to approve the addresses as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other staff items? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye, and we are adjourned.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
I do have one announcement. October 20th, we are having our special second Plan Commission meeting. I apologize, I forgot to mention that while we were still on the record. A number of you have said that you are going to be able to make it. We need to have 5 here on that afternoon. We had so many meetings, we had so many petitions, I was afraid it would run much longer. So I split it up into 2 this month. So we'll have 2 request 2 petitions on the 20th.
Sounds good.
Oh, what?